Welcome back, everyone. My name is Reginald Johnson, host of All in the Game, and today we have a Livingstone legend with us. We have Mr. Romus Jeffries, Livingstone class of 1971. Welcome, Mr. Jeffries.
Good morning, Mr. Reginald. How are you doing this morning? My name is Romus Jeffries. I'm a graduate at Livingstone College, 1971, Hall of Famer.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffries. It's so good for you to join the show, and I know we're going to learn a lot from you, and it's just a pleasure for you to be here. So, with that, we're going to get started with our first quarter. So, Mr. Jeffries, one of the first questions I want to ask you is, what got you into playing football or sports in general?
Well, basically, Mr. Johnson, coming up in my younger days, we played football. That's one of the things that we had to do to keep ourselves busy back in the day. Basketball, football, cornfield, as we called it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really have a for real field, so we played in the street or wherever. By the time we got to junior high and high school, we was good to go.
Yeah. Did you play with a lot of your friends in the neighborhood, or was it different neighborhoods playing together?
Oh yeah, well it was different neighborhoods that played, especially on Thanksgiving Day. We used to have a big Thanksgiving game, and I played with the older guys. People used to come all around Salisbury, Lexington, different areas, and we had this big game, Thanksgiving feast game it was called. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people used to get hurt in that game. No pads, I was a young fella, so by the time I got to high school, I was kind of on top of my game.
Yeah. No, that's good because a lot of times people you had to be pretty good if you got to play with the older guys. When did you recognize that you can play this sport and be kind of successful at it?
Well, I guess just based on, cornfield football, if you walked up and a game was going on, just like basketball, if a game was going on, people want to choose the best players and get the best players on their team.
That's
So
right.
if the game was started, whether it's football, basketball, or whatever, I would get picked right away. So that just told me, in other people's mind, I was good in that particular field, in that particular area, whatever game was going on at that particular time. So
Hmm.
that's kind of where that went back in that time.
Did you have any older siblings or older cousins that you learned from or people in the neighborhood?
Well, the neighborhood game at that time we didn't in Dunbar as I went to high school. We didn't really have a football team until 1964. That was our first year of having a football team. So basically, we did a lot of cornfield and that type of thing. But yeah, I had an older brother,
Hmm.
that two older brothers actually that played basketball. One of them was able to play. One had a heart murmur.
Yeah.
He couldn't play high school. So the one next that was next to me, he was good. We played together for 2 years in high school. Actually, 3 years in high school because he was 2 years ahead of me.
Yeah.
And he ended up going to Barbara Scotia, All American out at Barbara Scotia. So kind of powder behind him. He was good. He was
Yeah.
good. So by the time I got to high school, I was starting my freshman year. So I was pretty good as well.
Did,
I
did,
came out of high school. I was averaging 29 points a game.
yeah, I saw you got 45 one night. Tell me about that night.
Yeah, it was.
Was everything
That was
going
a night down in Troy. I'm sorry.
was everything going in the
I
basket
said
when
it was a night. Oh yeah, yeah. Everything was going in the basket. I just had a good hand that particular night. We was playing down in Troy. They had a couple of 7 footers down there. They wasn't as agile as the 7 footers are today, but
yeah.
I was shooting jumpers on them, and if they come out to try to guard me, then I would go around slam on them or whatever. So my teammates was feeding me the ball, and I just kept pouring it in.
Man,
So I
you were
ended up with 45 that particular.
45. And the thing about it, there wasn't a 3-point line back then, was it? It was just straight twos.
It wasn't. No.
Twos and free throws,
Right.
right?
Right. That's
Man,
right. Yeah.
45. What position did you play in basketball?
Oh, I played inside forward, center, whatever was needed. Uh,
Mhm.
sometimes guard brought the ball down. So I'm 6'3", I was about the same size in high school, about 190, 195 pounds, about the same as I am now. So my weight kind of fluctuates right now. I'm around 2'5", 210, somewhere in that neighborhood. When I was at Livingstone, I was about 195. So
195 at Livingstone. And then you were 190 in high school.
uh,
That's pretty good to be 6'3",
right,
190.
right,
Well, how was the
right.
competition at a all black school?
Uh, Competition all black school at Dunbar. We had some good kids. But I guess being that I continued to play with the older guys just coming up. By the time I got to high school, and my older brother was there, he was hooping, so he kind of paved the way for me. So that was kind of eye open by the time I got to high school, and started playing football, came out of football, and got right into basketball. So my freshman year of basketball, I kind of caught on to the game, and the coach, picked up on it, so I could really hoop. So I earned a starting spot my freshman year.
So which one did you like better, basketball or football?
Uh, they both, I enjoyed both of them, but I'd have to say football, I guess.
Yeah.
Football was probably because I had some scholarships, basketball as well, but football was my dream. Just being able to get out there and play one on one with the cornerbacks trying to cover me and being able to run by them or whatever. Because I was pretty quick too back in the day. But so that was my biggest enjoyment, I guess.
Did because those sports pretty much complement each other pretty much when you can play basketball and
Pretty
football
much.
because you're doing a lot of the same things
Right.
but differently. You got to be able to cut. You got to be able to have hand-eye coordination. You, Football, you got to
Right.
be able to read defenses. Same thing with basketball. You got to be able to think quickly on your feet. So they
Right.
help out. But Mr. Jeffries, there are a lot of kids now, and they only specialize in one sport. Football or basketball, and that's it.
Right.
But
Right.
I tell people I don't think that's a real benefit to specialize in one sport. It's like putting all your eggs in one basket. When you do that, if you don't grow anymore or you don't work on your game, then all you are is a basketball player and all you are is a football player. But if you can't adjust, then you just have to, I think you just have to be able to diversify yourself, not only in sports, but in life also.
That's correct. Yes.
What who who,
Hmm.
who inspired you in your area, in the neighborhood, growing up?
Well, I guess Reginald, that wasn't growing up. I guess we had some good high school players. I mean, the high school I went to, which was Dunbar. It's not in existence anymore.
And that's the school. That's the
But
school
there was a
on
lot of.
Long Street, right?
I'm sorry.
Is that the school on Long Street?
That was a school on Long Street that got burned down. Yeah. And see,
Yes.
we probably had about anywhere between 10 and 12 state championships. And in that gymnasium, we had all kind of basketballs and trophies and everything else. So those guys back in the day that was playing, was an inspiration. I want to be like. For an example, we had a kid named Lonnie Clutch. Lonnie was about 6'6". Now back in that time, 6'6" was a giant.
Yeah.
So we got to pattern ourselves out of certain individuals. We pick up basketball, and back then, there wasn't a lot of outside courts, so we had to make our own court. We would take a basket for an example, a potato basket or whatever, and nail it to a tree and make us a little spot and have a little full court. So, have a little ball about so big. And,
Hmm.
once you get those small balls going in a basket like that, by the time you get to a real gym,
Oh,
you can shoot it. So
right.
that kind of paved the way for me.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because once you
Yeah.
Did you have a basket in your neighborhood? I mean, in your at your house, or you had to go somewhere else, people's other houses?
Well, I had one. I had one. We had a field goal basket that everybody used to go and play at, like a neighborhood. Well, actually, we had two courts that we could go and play in. Which was neighborhood, and you go and get your pickup games. And like I say, if you was good, you got to play. If you wasn't that good, you didn't get to play. People wouldn't pick you.
Yeah,
So you have to wait your term and get your game, and then when your time comes, then you pick the players that you wanted to be on your team. So majority of the time I got picked.
oh yeah. So did y'all have rules like we did too? Like you had to be home before the street light came on?
No, well, that was really a parent thing back then.
Yeah,
Some parents was pretty strict, and other was lenient. It just depended on the parent.
yeah,
I didn't really have that rule. My parents, we was pretty good kids, so we know what time we had to get home.
yeah,
My wife lived right up the street from me. So matter of fact, we still married today. And that's about far as I went in the evening. I didn't really, venture off too far. But on the weekends, we kind of got out there a little bit, hung
yeah.
out on campus, Livingstone. So we used to be over there from time to time. So
So so
that's
what?
kind of what we did back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. So was Livingstone easily accessible back then to kind of walk up there and go on campus?
Pretty much, yeah, yeah. Anybody could pretty much go on campus at that time. They didn't have the gate. They didn't have any of that. So you could kind of walk over there, and they used to. Matter of fact, back in the day, Salisbury used to have games. That they used to call them. I can't think of the names that they had, but they wouldn't allow the campus kids to come off campus too much. They would kind of try to jump them. So,
Mm.
but it was pretty rough back then as far as what the neighborhood saw felt about the kids on campus at that time.
Oh, was it like so they didn't like, were they kind of jealous of them or had a resentment towards some of the guys or people on campus?
I think that's probably was some of the case. Like I say that I can't put my finger on the name of that game was, but I know there used to be a lot of avenues and events where kids went off campus and they got jumped by this
Hmm.
neighborhood gang, so they
Yeah.
didn't venture off campus too much.
Oh yeah. So they did venture off. Yeah.
No,
Mm, that's
no,
that's that's interesting. Well,
yeah,
Mr. Jeffries,
yeah.
this has been a great first quarter. We're gonna go to the second quarter in a little bit after we hear from the cheerleaders, and we're gonna talk about your transition to college.
Okay.
Well, we're going to start our second quarter. So, Mr. Jeffries, tell me about your transition from high school to college, because you mentioned that you were getting recruited in basketball and football. What schools recruited you in basketball? We'll do basketball first. What schools recruited you in basketball?
Well, pretty much the same one. Fayetteville State, one Salem State. Johnson C. Smith at the time.
Hmm.
I had some conversation with the North Carolina Central coaches, but at that time, really, Reggie, I hadn't. I guess being a kid, really hadn't thought a whole lot about going to college.
Yeah.
So, I talked to the coach down at Johnson C. Smith a couple times. He came up to Salisbury and talked to me, but I ended up going to Livingstone, I guess, because as I said, it was a last minute decision for me to go. So Coach Marshall, which was my coach back in the day, he's deceased now. He was a good coach, and he kind of talked me into coming to Livingstone. So coming to college, so I went over there. When I got over there, competition was pretty stiff, So it took me a minute to get in the starting position, but I ended up getting a starting spot after the second game.
Second game.
Because
So
seniors, I as a freshman, the seniors pretty much had things locked down.
they pretty much, and it's tough. I don't think people understand how tough it is for a freshman to take a senior spot. That
Right.
that
Yeah.
means
Yeah.
you had to be excelling from when you got in the door, like from camp, because I know y'all had some pretty much summer camp. Did y'all do how many weeks did y'all do at summer
exactly.
camp? 2 weeks?
Yeah, we usually went in first week of July, and yeah, well, actually, it probably was more like 4 to 5 weeks.
Mm.
We
Well,
went in early because the season really didn't start till September back then, so we went in July.
oh yeah, man,
So
July.
we was there for we was about the middle part of July. We was on campus,
And it's a different kind of heat in
and so
Salisbury.
oh yeah, yeah, oh man, shoot, yeah, it was different kind of heat. We had kids down there that was sneaking out early morning, calling cabs, going home. I never forget there was two twins down there from New York, and shoot, we got up one morning looking for them. They had called a cab. They was gone. It was just practical, just too much for them.
Mm.
Because back then, we had to get up 5 o'clock in the morning,
Oh yeah.
go out, run the steps, steps in the stadium. I don't know if you all had to do that, but we had to run the steps, 10 to 15 minutes. And then we had to do, we used to do a barrel roll, they used to call it. We used to have to roll 100 yards, roll back,
Really?
so we had some pretty difficult trainers back in that day.
Was Yeah, now we did that roll, but we did that because of punishment. We didn't do it because yeah.
Oh, no, that was part of our exercise.
What?
Yeah, shit, we have to roll 100 yards and back.
Mm. I know how to be. So did y'all do?
Mm.
So I know y'all did that. I know y'all probably y'all ran the stadium steps. What about that hill? Did y'all ever have to run that hill?
Yeah, the hill. Yeah, we used to do it every now and then, but again, that wasn't something that we had to do.
Yeah.
A built-in exercise, pretty much. And one of the major ones, with two other ones, with the roll and the steps.
Mm-hmm.
Those was the biggest things. And the other thing was basically, jumping jacks, push-ups, sit-ups, those kind of things.
How,
Yeah, and then we had to go to the sled.
oh yeah. Even the receivers had to hit the sled too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It
Everybody.
wouldn't. I mean, everybody went to the sled. Hmm. Yeah,
If you put a
yeah.
receiver
If
on
you
the
didn't go
sled
to the
now, they gonna
sled, you
quit.
put, huh?
I said, if you put a receiver on the
I'm
sled
sorry.
now, they might quit on you.
Oh, they wasn't on the sled when you was playing.
I when I got recruited, Mr. Jeffries, I played defense first. So I was playing free safety. So I had to hit that sled on
Uh-huh.
defense. But then I
Uh,
moved over to
okay.
offense a little, but no, we didn't really. Well, we'll hit it to block it, but we weren't doing anything
Right.
major like that.
Oh no, no. We had to hit it and move it 5 or 10 yards
No, yeah,
with the coach standing on it.
really
Yeah,
yelling and fussing and
yeah,
screaming.
yeah, yeah. Blowing his whistle. If you wouldn't,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so, so how many people were on the team back then when you played at Livingstone?
Uh, I want to say probably in the neighborhood of 40,
Okay.
42, 45, something like that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's probably how it was. Yeah,
Hmm.
we had about 50, between 50 and 60.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so, Mr. Jeffries, when you played, did y'all pass the ball a lot? Because you had 15 touchdowns your freshman year now. So y'all had to be doing a lot of throwing that thing around.
Oh yeah, yeah. We did a lot of passing. We had All American quarterback Alfred Tyler and myself, and then I had my partner Sylvester Sutton. He was on the other side. So, and then we had pretty good slot Jack Johnny Jackson. He was in the slot. So, we was pretty tough. They couldn't double team us. If they double team one, the other one would go crazy. So,
Mm-hmm.
it was pretty hard to D us. We could all run good routes. I was about the fastest out of the group. So,
So yeah, I
I
mean,
could get down the field pretty good.
you 6'3" and you 190. So were most of your passes were they deep balls, like you get behind the free safety or the corner?
Deep balls. Yeah, yes. I was doing deep balls, slants, outs, deep outs. My favorite route was a deep out. We used to call it a four. You
Okay.
do a deep out and then you pump to you and then you turn it up.
Okay. I got you.
That was
So you'll
yeah,
run the deep
yeah.
out,
It was
he'll
like a
pump it,
four.
fake that corner,
And
and
then
then
you
you up the
turn
sideline.
yeah, turn it up the field. Yeah, we was playing. Probably my best game was we was playing at the Coliseum down in Charlotte, and we was playing Bluefield State, and
Hmm.
I scored 4 touchdowns that night. That was the biggest game of my career. All of them was on post. A couple was on post, and then the fours. They couldn't. By the time they come up to try to stop that down and out,
It
I
was.
turn it up. It was all over there because I could run a 4.4, 4.340, something like
Oh,
that.
you was moving, and then so
Oh
because
yeah,
yeah, the thing about running that route, you said that four route, and you run that deep out and then fake it. You and your quarterback had to have a pretty good relationship because he had to be precise when he pumped that
oh
ball
yeah,
to fake it, and you had
right,
to throw that fake so
right,
hard that that corner would either stop in his
right,
tracks or come
right,
up,
right.
and after that,
That's
you
right.
had to catch the
Well, see,
ball.
the thing is, yeah, yeah. See, once you do it, a couple of down and outs on them, they playing that down and out. So once
Yeah.
you suck them in, hit 2 or 3 on them, you got them sucked in now. So once you turn it up on them, you got them standing their track. So most
Hmm.
time they just get left there.
So when you were running post routes, what was the defense playing? Were they like in a cover three or were they like too deep back there?
Most time was a too deep.
Okay.
Back then most time it was 4-3. Too deep or something like that. But once you get to running those slants, you run those slants. And we used to run a lot of slants because that was Alfred's one of his favorite routes. You run that slant. Once you run that slant, get them run that slant, and then again, it's just like that four. They get to looking for that slant. You go across like you go on a slant and turn it up on that post. My other wide out has got the other D back tied up over there, so now the post is home free.
Hmm.
Because back then most majority teams wasn't playing a deep free safety.
Oh, so yeah, they were playing. Yeah, so one of them was already tied up, depending on that other route from the
Right,
because so it
right.
was X Y Z. Were you the Z receiver?
Yes.
Okay, so you're the Z. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you like being on that side of the field?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We most of the time, we mix it up a little bit, but the majority of the time I would either be in that position or sometime I would go in the slot. You
Yeah.
know, if I was going to run a reverse, I would get in the slot. Because we used to have a play where once you come out, go down the line. It's just like these little pitch plays that they doing now.
Yeah, the
They'll
pick
pitch
play.
it to you. Once you pitch it to you, then you hit right off that tackle. And if you beat that linebacker, usually you're gonna run, 20, 25 yards, or maybe
Mm,
all the way in some cases.
yeah, because that's all you got to do is beat one person, pretty much. If
That's
so,
right.
so you would just beat him to the like to the 9 or the 8 hole to the outside,
Right.
and then
Yep.
once
Yep.
once you did that,
Yep.
it was just and if it was
Yeah.
sold
'Cause
properly,
our offense used to be set where we used to do our guard and tackles used to do a lot of crisscross blocking
okay,
back then. We had an offensive line coach that he liked to cross them up. And see, once you cross them up like that, usually you're gonna have a hold if they're doing a good job with the blocking. If you're
yeah,
doing a good job with the blocking, it's gonna be a hold there. And we had a good running back at the time. Matter of fact, we had some good running backs when I was there. They wasn't on the capability of a Wilmon or something like that, but they was pretty good. We had a big kid named Dave Henricks. He was there when I got there. He's probably about 220, big running back. And he could go down the field pretty good. So we had a pretty good offense. Defense wasn't bad either. So
y'all had a pretty
we used to
balanced.
score a lot of points.
Sound like y'all had a balanced attack, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, we was pretty good. We lost a couple of games that we shouldn't have lost. My freshman year, I guess the biggest game we lost probably was Liberty City.
Hmm.
Uh, Seconds ago in the game, and I guess really they had got beat. Liberty City beat them the year before that the same way.
Second,
Last pass, 3 seconds ago in the game, quarterback threw a bomb.
it,
D back didn't get back. And my freshman year, the same thing happened on homecoming.
no, it didn't.
The
No,
coach
it
had
didn't,
told him we
Mr.
was
Jeffries. Homecoming, you gonna lose the last second at homecoming?
homecoming last second. The same quarterback, the same receiver from the year before. Liberty City. Johnny Walton was his name. He was a good quarterback. And they had a little couple of speed burners down in Liberty City at the time. So,
Hmm.
our defensive coach had told our corners, get back, get back, get back.
Get
Don't let
back.
them burn you. Start talking about what happened last year.
And
Shoot, man, he let that kid run right by him. He was a good, he's a pretty good D-back too, Scott Perkins. He was one of our D-backs. He was quick too. Scott was fast. Scott probably could run about a 4.3 or 4.4 himself.
hmm
But he let that kid run right by him because he was caught him looking in the backfield.
and what for?
So two
Why
seconds
you in
left
the
to go.
backfield the last play of the game with 3 seconds? It's nothing in that
Right.
backfield for you.
Yeah,
And, and
that's right.
and the
That's right.
thing about it is, Mr. Jeffries, when you play receiver, you already know what's gonna happen. When like you can really,
Exactly.
I tell people because I played defensive back and I played receiver, but once I started playing receiver, I can kind of, if they're even, if I'm even with a receiver, then I'm leaving pretty much. It's no way. I mean, if I'm
Right.
even with a corner or a defensive back, you'll run right by them, and then they start panicking. And then once they start
Right.
panicking and flapping their arms, it's like just all you gotta do is catch the ball. That's all you gotta do.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
And, and
Mhm. Mhm.
speaking of homecomings, did y'all when y'all played, y'all didn't stay in hotels, did y'all? Did y'all have to sleep in gyms?
Yeah. 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 Back then we said, I think we stayed in about the only hotel we stayed in. We went to St. Paul,
Okay.
Minnesota. We played St. Paul, and we stayed in a hotel and went there because they really didn't have accommodations in the gym for us to stay. But the majority of the time we were staying in gyms,
So
just like they did when they came to Livingstone.
yeah, so they slept in Old Trent.
Old Trent was upstairs. That's where their team slept at.
Huh. So
Yeah.
did they have like cots or stuff in the gym?
Yeah, they had no upstairs. Trent was upstairs, had upstairs in it.
Okay. Yeah,
It
okay.
still should. I would think you could go in the gym, and then they had some stairs in the back where you could go upstairs, and that's where they had a bunch of beds up there.
Oh. No, I
I
didn't.
don't know what they got up there now,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's the way it was set up at that time.
Yeah. So
See, the
I
gym
guess
the gym was still there, but you could go. They had steps that you could go upstairs, and that's where the team slept at. That's where we slept at in the summer.
in there, yeah. Did it? So
Hmm.
that'd be kind of. I guess it's because my uncle played at Fayetteville State, and he told me about staying in the gym also. But I would think, and my dad played baseball at Shaw, so he would tell me like they would stay in the gym too. But no students would ever bother y'all, or
No, no, we did not. Little City, they used to turn the heat off us when we went to Little City. We used to have to, on a couple of years, we had to sleep in our uniforms because that's
no,
how cold it was in that gym. Yeah,
man.
yeah. But most of the time, we didn't really get harassed or anything. Usually, it was pretty mild weekend for us when we stayed
Yeah.
there.
So if the game was on a
Mhm.
Saturday, would y'all leave on like Friday night or Friday?
Yeah, we leave. No, we leave Friday. We leave Friday morning. We
Friday
get
morning.
there Friday afternoon, practice, and then have a little meal, and then we get ready to go to bed.
Yeah.
I know back then. Let's see, we went to. I never forget. We went to Fisk. We went to
Okay.
Fisk,
Yeah.
and no, it was Knoxville College. Knoxville College. They had their little stadium was right outside of one of the dormitories, and that was one of the first dormitories that we went in, where it was what they would call what they call it these days when you have the men and the women sleeping in the same dormitory.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
co-ed dorms. Yeah.
and co-ed, co-ed down there. That's the first time we had really seen a co-ed dormitory because it was you know girls walking around in dormitories just like the men. So that was different for us,
That's a
you
lot
know.
different.
But again, we stayed in the gym. Yeah, I think that was one of the only schools that I had seen that had a co-ed back then.
Hmm. What What about how was homecoming at Livingstone back then? Was it kind of like it is now?
Uh, pretty much, I would think homecoming. We didn't get to participate a lot.
We
Because
didn't.
need to say we had a curfew.
Yeah.
But that Saturday, we was able to get in. It's kind of, it's kind of hard to compare. It looked like they was having a ball on Friday night, during the week. But see, we didn't really get to see too much of that. Now
I,
Saturday, after the game or whatever, then we could kind of mingle around a little bit and kind of get a taste of what was going on. But
mhm.
it wasn't like being out of school when you go back to visit for homecoming. That's totally different scenario.
Nah. And Mr. Jeffries, I don't think people who don't play sports, who football really, Coach Amos would always tell us, look, homecoming week, this is not for the football players. They not coming.
Right,
They're not. This is not for you. This is for everyone else. He said we got business
right,
taken care of, and he would impart from 95 to 99 after I stopped playing. He would always tell us that. So I got it the first year because he would say, look, all these parties,
mhm,
all these events, they're not for y'all. Learn the playbook, learn the team, learn your opponent, go to class,
right,
get out of class,
right,
get rest,
right,
and that was it. So I
right.
always understood,
Yeah,
but we had some players who thought it was for them and they would miss curfew and get caught. You gonna get caught. The campus is so small. Somebody's
right.
gonna get you.
That's right.
But yeah,
Uh-huh.
we didn't enjoy. We didn't enjoy.
Yeah,
We enjoy winning because that's what we were there for. It's a business. But
right,
and like you
right,
said, the Saturday night after we won, it was just like okay, we get to enjoy some of the fruits of our labor.
right. Yeah, it was fun though. I mean, we'd be in the dorm, we wouldn't be asleep. We'd see all the activities going on out on campus or whatever, trying to holler at the honeys or whatever. But
Hmm.
we was on lockdown pretty much.
Yeah, lockdown. Yeah. What about? Tell me about some of
Hmm.
your teammates when you were there. How was that relationship that you had with them? Because you were pretty close to home, so you probably can always go home get you a home cooked meal if you wanted to.
I did. I had partners that we always came, especially on homecoming. My mom used to have this big feast, and I'd take the guys down there. We go down. I mean, even when I left school, before my mom passed away, when I
Mhm.
came home, she would still have a big feast down there. And I take all my partners down there. We go down there, eat the pig feet, the chillings, and the whole
Oh
nine. I
man,
mean, she used to
y'all
have
was
so much
doing
food.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, my partner's Sylvester. He's over in Richmond, Virginia now. He was the other wideout. And one of my other partners, Sylvester, Sylvester's in Richmond. Then Scott, he's in Charlotte. So we communicate quite a bit. Uh,
Yeah.
we talk at least once every other week or whatever. So,
That's what
we're pretty tight. And Scott played, I guess, played against Scott for 8 years. Cause see, Scott, that was a Dunbar and Lexington as well. See, Scott played Dunbar and Lexington.
okay.
I was here Dunbar and Spencer. So he was a quarterback over there. So we went head to head for 8 years. Cause when he
Man.
came to Livingstone, he came as a D back, and I was a wideout. So we were still going head to head.
Yeah.
Cause see, when I was playing high school, we played both ways. You
Yeah.
play offense, and then in my case, I played defensive end.
Okay.
And Scott
I
was the
can see that.
quarterback, so I had a whole lot of, I had a lot of opportunities to light him up a lot of times. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
because
when
you
he came to Livingstone, I was still running against him.
yeah. Yeah, because 6'3", 190, you pretty tall. I can see they'll put you on that end to get that quarterback, keep
Hmm.
containment, don't let anything get around you.
Right.
You just get a lot of
Yeah.
sacks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I get back there pretty quick. I get back there pretty quick. Because back then a lot of linemen, what they was, some of them was big, but not like kids of today. But they wasn't that agile.
Yeah.
They wasn't that agile. And my thing was once I get that first step and get on the outside, if it's coming my way, then I'm gonna make the tackle.
Yeah.
Because I was pretty hard to block. Because I could maneuver, I could get out the way. So, but
So
if I wasn't making the tackle, then I would turn it in for my linebacker.
yeah, you and that's the job of a defensive end. You turn everything in. Don't let anything
Right,
you
right.
keep containment. And that's what sports
That's
teaches
right.
you is that you have to know your roles and responsibilities at all times.
That's right.
You can't
That's right.
go
That's right.
renegade and do what you want to do just because you want to do it. You You got to really be
Mm.
disciplined. And so, Mr. Jeffries, tell me,
That,
when you were playing receiver, how was it? Did you, when people try to bump and run you, did anybody come close to you, or were they pretty much backed up like 5 to 7 yards?
yeah, it was pretty much 5 to 7 yards. We very seldom ran into teams that would try to do the bump, especially with us. Because like I
Yeah,
say, we was pretty good, and we had a good quarterback. So if you try to bump and you miss on that first bump, you was automatically beat right off the line. So we didn't have a whole lot of that.
yeah,
Our D backs usually, we had scouts, from the opposite team that would come and look at us, and they would know, that they had to stay back because we was pretty good. We ran good routes and we was pretty quick. So
yeah,
we didn't have a lot of that, up bump and run kind of coverage like they do today.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We did some
So
of
that
it.
gave us opportunity to get off the line.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
yeah. We did some of it when we were in college. It was some teams that would bump and run, try to bump and run, and you got to do a swim move
Hmm.
to get off, or you got to or do a quick move and go
Right,
around.
right,
But most of them didn't bump and run
right.
because we had Perry in the backfield. So when you got him, you
That's
got to
right.
see that train coming.
There was another kid back there too.
Chris
I
Williams,
think
number
he had some, yeah, had some family problems. So yeah, he was. Now to me, I thought he was a little bit better than Wilmot. Wilmot was more of a power running, but that Williams kid, he was rough. What happened with him anyway? He left school, didn't he?
yeah, he after
Didn't he
that,
have some family issues or something?
yeah, I think something was going on with it. I just remember he just because that's the thing about it, Mr. Jeffries. We didn't have cell phones like it is now, so you can't really call anybody.
Right,
Come
right,
to camp the next year, and
right,
it's like you don't see the person. And then coach would
right.
always tell us, beat it in our head, load and reload that, you know, and that the black college speech that we always hear at every time you go for freshman orientation. Look to your left, look to your right. Somebody may not be here next year. They would always say that. So,
Mm,
as an athlete, we just got used to like people not coming back, which was unfortunate because if we had more people
right.
coming back, it's a whole lot easier to keep that continuity going on. And then you don't have to keep training
Yeah,
people over and over again.
that's
So
right.
yeah, he was that line he was him and Wilmot together, and that's why we didn't pass the ball as much as other teams would do in the conference.
Right, right, right. Yeah, with those two kids in the backfield, you wouldn't have to. I mean, they was rough. I mean, that was a hell of a one-two punch.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
we stuck
I
like
remember that. I remember those days.
yeah, because I we used to call the receivers the Air Force. That was us. Then we had the ground attack, which is
Hmm.
Wilmot. But the line, people forget about how good that line was too. They would open up,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah,
run some
it
school
was
buses
good
to
the
that.
offensive line. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Wilmot, they were good. I mean, and I didn't mind blocking for them and running the defensive back off. Because by the time they saw him coming, they didn't want to hit him, so they was glad I was blocking them.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, those
Yeah,
two guys were
yeah.
good. Who else did you enjoy seeing when
Mm.
we played?
Uh, well, I guess really those are the only two names that really
Kind of stick
stood
out.
out. I mean, in that era. But then later on, came
Yeah,
Ben Coates, and uh, uh, what's the name? They went to. I think he played in Canada for a while. In fact, you say you had interviewed him for a minute. JoJo White.
yeah, JoJo White.
I
Yeah,
remember him playing. Yeah, he was good. So some of the kids, I don't quite remember. But like I say, when we used to come back for homecoming, we'll watch the game for a while. But then most of the time we'd be off, turning our elbows up or doing something different or whatever. Watch a little
yeah.
bit of the game, and then we in and out like that. So.
That's what we kind of do too.
Hmm.
We'll because you don't really get to see your people or your teammates. So we'll watch some of the game and
Right,
then we'll make sure what's going on, and then we'll go talk and
right,
do whatever. But you
right,
so
right.
when we were winning those championships, Mr. Jeffries, how was that? Or like when because because y'all used to follow us, and I tell people all the time when we won those, well, really it started, let's see, it started before 97. 97 was just the year we got the championships. That when Coach A
Right.
was 94, but 95, we went on a homecoming tour and we beat Central on their homecoming and some other people. But 96, that's kind of when
Hmm.
I think the community embraced us. Like those little kids that used to be
Right.
at what's the, it's, I think it's a, right behind Civics Apartments. They used to be playing the drums and they had like a little band. They used to always be at our games, but the community really embraced us, and not just Salisbury, but the A&E
Uh-huh.
Zions from Statesfield or wherever. So they treated us like,
Hmm.
they just treated us like their own kids when they would see us.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, usually, when you got good things going on campus, usually you'll get that support. But lately, last couple of years, it's just been awful. I mean, you go to a game and shoot, it might be 300 people there. It's just been really bad for the last couple of years, and I guess a lot of that is because they really not winning a lot of games. So
Mhm.
as a result, the community don't come out. Even when you try to give away tickets or let them in free or whatever. They
Mhm.
still just don't come and support. And again, I guess just because we haven't had the chance, we had some losing seasons for the last 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, yeah, and people don't support losers. They
No,
nobody remembers the team that lost the Super Bowl 4 years ago. It doesn't even come up in anybody's
right,
vernacular. So as it relates to
right,
sports,
right,
you have to win and put out a
right.
product. At least show them that you're on the up and up and moving up. If not,
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough for the community to support you. And
right. Yeah, well, about the only game they really used to support was homecoming.
yeah,
They have a
yeah,
big
I know.
turnout for homecoming.
Yeah. So
So,
so as because I look at your class and people who came before me as the people whose shoulders that my team stood on to be successful. Because if it wasn't for your team and people who came before us, we would never be who we are. So number one, I want to thank you for just playing football at Livingstone. Because there's some teams that played and they were not you guys, but they were 0-10, but they kept playing. And that championship
right,
just wasn't the 97 team. It was everybody who came before us. And we all
right,
recognize that these people came before us
right,
and they made it their way. They were trailblazers. All we had to do is get down the paved road
right.
and not get a speeding
That's
ticket.
right. That's
But
That's right.
and
That's
that's
right. Now you
that's
asked a question earlier about the following that you all used to have.
mhm.
I guess more like when you went to played in a championship game or even some games. We used to, when I was in town, 'cause I lived in Michigan for 25 years. So
Uh-huh.
uh, during the time frame, when if I happen to be here, then we'll, during the championship, I would follow the championship, and we had jackets, we had bought jackets and everything that year that
I
we
know
we,
it.
we won championship. I got a jacket now that it's got the championship year on it, and got a big blue bear, black and white jet, the regular football jacket type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we and
Hmm.
I still have my two rings. I got my jackets, and I don't wear it. I'll look at it every now and again, but it's just that all those hot practices and all those days when you
Right.
get yelled at and run the same play 50 times. That's when you look at it like, okay, it was worth it. It- but
Right. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get any rings while I was there. I got a lot of accolades, but I
yes,
got a nice ring when I got out. We had a community Hall of Fame uh, ring that I had got. That's an honor that I don't know if you're familiar with that. That's a with Livingstone and Johnson C. Smith
oh, the
when the
commemorative
first
classic.
black schools played. Yeah,
Yeah, I think you went into it. I think his last name was Duke.
yeah, I went.
Dusty Smith.
Yeah, yeah. Duke and myself went in the same time. I got a nice ring for that.
Hmm.
So,
So tell me
I
about
wear it every now and then. That's not. Go ahead.
yeah, tell me about some other accomplishments that you got at Livingstone when you were there.
Well, we had the Coca-Cola. We had a Coca-Cola Classic uh, frame that we had. Matter of fact, it used to be down the gym. It was a golden helmet that it used to be in the archive down there. I don't know if it's still or not. And every year that there was somebody selected from Coca-Cola selected someone from the plaque.
Yeah.
And I was on there for a couple of years, and then I had again just awards, from being the best receiver, scoring the most points or whatever. So it wasn't a whole lot of interior kind of awards going on at that time.
Hmm.
The majority of those came from outside, which was basically at that time Coca Cola.
Okay.
So I got a couple of plaques from Coca Cola.
Yeah. And yeah. So no, that's real good. Good second quarter, Mr. Jeffries. After this, we're gonna do a quick halftime, and then we will transition from the Buffalo Bills. That's right, the Bills. All right. Good quarter.
Yeah.
So we go to HBCU, so we got to let the band play. So we just gonna play them real quick.
Okay. Okay. All right. If I got some water.
No problem.
Got a little soda in there. That's just it.
Thank you, band. Uh, so we're gonna go to our see the band wanted to play like it was homecoming, but we got an interview to do. Homecoming bands they play all
Right.
day, get you a penalty.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
third quarter. So, Mr. Jeffries, tell me about your transition from going from Livingstone to the Buffalo Bills. How did that happen? Were they scouting you on campus?
Yeah, pretty much. We used to have with some of the games and the records that we had. We used to have quite a few scouts coming through campus. From different teams, the Bills, the Broncos, the Dallas, Cincinnati Bengals. Quite a few, scouts used to come through. They used to pull us out of class, have us go down on the practice field, run some routes, and
Hmm.
run some 40 times, that was pretty exciting times for us, to get the opportunity to do that.
Yeah,
But a couple opportunities I had was the biggest one I had was with Buffalo.
yeah,
I had an opportunity to go to the Bengals, but I chose Buffalo. Buffalo had told me that I could play if I couldn't make a wideout position, and I'd have opportunity to play cornerback
that's good.
because I did play a little D back when I was in school at
Yeah,
Livingstone, but not a whole lot. So that's how I ended up in Buffalo, and it was pretty rough in terms of being on there and get to stick uh, because of the fact that coming out of small school like Livingstone, and I was competing with guys like Bobby Chandler and those kind of guys that come out of USC and
hmm,
the big name schools. Here I am coming out of little small schools that nobody ever heard of. So it was pretty rough, but I got through the preseason, part of the preseason, got put on waivers at the time.
yeah,
And, at that time I had just gotten married and they wanted me to go. At that time, they called them farm teams. This time, I think they called them practice squads.
yeah,
They wanted to send me over to Joliet, Illinois from some little place I'd never heard of before. And I asked a couple of questions about it. They said, wasn't nothing out there but cornfields and some other stuff. So I chose not to, and being the fact that I had just gotten married, I just kind of threw the towel in. But
yeah,
just good enough to play. Just being out there in that environment, and you going out there and you working hard, and you're doing better than this individual over here, but he come out of USC and you come out of Livingstone, and you got people like OJ out there, that's cheering for their homeboys or whatever. So it made
yeah,
it made it kind of difficult for the small guys, like myself. So
Yeah.
But at least, I had the opportunity to get there, and probably had I gone to another team, I would have made. And even had I gone to that farm team, because that same year they traded Haven Moses, which was one of the first round draft choices that they had.
Hmm.
They had a couple of other guys, Haven Moses, which was a wide out. I don't know if you remember those names, and now you was probably a kid at that time, but
Hmm.
Havens was tough. They traded him to the Denver Broncos, and so they started all over. Like I say, had I stayed, went to that farm team, and came back, which they wanted me to do, then possibly I would have been there stuck for a while. But I just didn't have the patience for it. Disappointed, so
Yeah.
I just left.
Yeah. So coming from a small school, I mean, you got Livingstone College, LCUSC, and then you got the Juice cheering for his people. That was politics pretty much. So you saw politics
Oh
firsthand.
yeah, oh yeah, oh man, that's what it was. And then back then you didn't have, especially as a free agent. I was one of the first round free agents, but still, you had to be totally exceptional to beat
Mhm.
one of those guys out. I mean, because once you get there, they've already got the depth chart made out.
Yeah.
So now you gotta work your way up the depth chart. And I never forget, Bobby Chandler, which came out of USC, and he ended up being a starter, by the way, that year. He went out with a pulled hamstring, was out for about 3 weeks, and I'm running behind him. So, and Haven Moses hadn't, I mean, not Haven, but their first round draft choice hadn't got to camp at that time. So I'm out there, I'm running good routes, I'm working hard, I'm doing, so when he comes back, he goes right back ahead of me, and again,
Right.
he's 5'8", running 4.8 40s. I'm 6'3". I'm running 4.3, 4.40s. And there's something wrong with this pitcher.
Yeah.
I can get down the field a lot quicker. Now, granted, he could run a little better routes than I could because, he had those coaches. I mean, when I was in school, we had probably two coaches,
Yeah.
maybe three. And, he better come out of a better coaching situation, but as far as route running. But everything else, as far as catching the ball, the speed, I mean, I had him beat in all those categories. But
Hmm.
again, me come out of USC, and I'm come from a little place unheard of, and down south at Livingstone. So it was pretty hard back at that time for a black kid to make in the league as a free agent, and
Yeah.
and and it wasn't a whole lot of them getting drafted at that time.
Mm.
Even going to D1 school. Matter of fact, I got a wall of fame over there now that you can't see based on the way my computer set up. Had I did this phone, I'd been able to show it. But I got articles, that was saying, my picture in the paper. This was years after I had came out saying that I was born too early. And, I would have probably gone to a D1 school. Matter of fact, I knew I would have went to a D1. Well, see, when I was in school, it was almost unheard of for a black kid to go to a D1 school.
Hmm.
Most of us was A&T, Central, or, some of those schools such as those. But, you just didn't get to D1 like that.
Yeah.
I think the first kid we had come out of D1 came out of, at that time, it was integrated, which was Salisbury High,
Yeah.
a kid by the name of James Teal. James ended up going to, he went to Purdue. And,
Yeah.
he left Purdue, and he ended up getting drafted going to, they played for the Lions for 4 or 5 years. So,
Hmm.
he's a good friend of mine still. He's still in Detroit. When I go home to Detroit, we have opportunity to kick around a little bit. So, but yeah, back that time, it was just too hard. It was hard for a black kid to break in.
Kind of. Yeah. So what? So after you, when did you move to Detroit?
Well, after I had got put on waivers and left Buffalo, I came here, came back to Salisbury for about a year,
Hmm.
and then I ended up getting a position working in the government. I started off in the Bureau of Prisons, working in the prison system as a recreation specialist, and that job came through in Michigan. So I packed up and went to Michigan. I ran a recreation facility, set up basketball programs, football programs, and flag, that kind of thing. Basic thing for the inmates in the recreation department. and so that's what I did for a couple of years before I got into fast food. So that's how I ended up in Michigan. I ended up staying there for 25 years before I
Did you say,
relocated back to North Carolina.
was there a lot of talent in that in the prison systems?
Oh yeah, man! I had a basketball team that, I had kids that play, because inmates was there from all over, and basketball team was out of this world. I mean, they was, I used to take them to different parts of the state to play, and everywhere we went, we played in championship games, and they won all the state stuff. I mean, those kids, I mean, they could hoop, because they was good. Some of them was college players, turn into robbing banks and those kind of things, and end up, in which was that mile in prison in Michigan. It wasn't a maximum; it was a minimum custody.
Yeah.
So you could take them out or whatever. So I used to take them out over the weekend and let them go out and hang out a little bit and do things they wasn't supposed to be doing and take them back. So
Yeah. No, yeah,
uh,
that makes sense.
it was yeah,
So I guess what was your major, Mr. Jeffries?
business administration. I minored in physical education.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. So mine
Hmm.
was business too. So that kind of ties it in with the physical education part, being able to put some programs
Yeah,
together for people. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then I ended up. I did that for a couple of years, and I went into fast food. I started working for a chain called Burger Chef, which was you wouldn't have heard of those guys because that was an old chain.
Yeah.
And so Hardee's purchased all the burger chefs, and then they turned all the burger chefs into Hardee's.
Okay. Yeah.
So I
So
was in Hardee's food system for about 20 plus years, and that's how I ended up with my own Hardee's. And,
yeah.
and I relocated back to Solid
Okay. So yeah, because that was the Hardee's on the west end over there. Yeah.
West
So
End. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So tell me about
I used to play. Yeah, go ahead.
no, tell me about how you yeah, no, tell me about how you got that Hardee's.
Well, basically, working in the system as a director, I was a region director for the system, and Hardee's didn't have any black franchisees. So the NAACP got on their case about not having any black owner operators.
Really?
So as a result, yeah, they didn't have any black owner operators. So as a result, Hardee's created a situation where uh, you could you could get into a restaurant based on the criteria of the restaurant, and as far as your performance as a region person as I was, if you qualified, then you could take one of these restaurants that they identified, and all the profits that that restaurant makes goes into a pot. And
Okay.
then after 3 year period, then you could take that, and then you could go and purchase. So I purchased a unit here in Salisbury, so that's how I ended back up in Salisbury.
Okay. So had it not been for that restaurant, you probably would have stayed up up north.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
coming home, you get what year was that you got that Hardee's?
98, I believe it was.
Okay, 98. Yeah. So you got the Hardee's.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember we in school used to have the 10% off, right?
97, 98.
Yeah, 97.
Yeah, I used to do 10% off. I used to bring food over there, chicken over there to the box, and to Harris and those guys that was doing the announcing, and whoever was up there, I used to take enough chicken over there for, that was one of the promotions that I used to try to do and try to, look out for some of the kids, some of the kids like Wilmot and those kind of guys that I knew personally, I'd let them come in, I would give them food. So
Yeah.
I let them eat free. But usually I used to try to do a discount, help the kids out.
Yeah, I remember that discount. Yeah, that was because
Mhm.
once we realized that it was your Hardee's, then it was like it was known on campus. Hey, there are other Hardee's, it don't even exist for us. We going to your Hardee's, so that's what
Right.
we started doing. Once people
Uh,
made it known it was
uh,
yours. How did playing
right.
sports help you with running the Hardee's team sports? How did that help?
Uh, Probably basically the organization part of it. just setting up a program where you want to be a winner and to have that fight, because it was a fight, being a minority over there, and at this time Salisbury really wasn't quite ready for that. So it was just a fight, and being that I had been in used to battles, basketball, football, or whatever, I just kind of roll with the punches and just try to recruit the people in there, the kids that was that I would try to help, to try to give them a job. A lot of them hadn't had jobs, first jobs or whatever. So it was a challenge. It was a challenge every day. The business was good for breakfast. Lunch was decent, but dinner time was just nothing, because there was nothing on that side of town really that
Yeah,
would draw people to come there. So
right. It was
it just
nothing to
made it
draw
it
on.
just made it hard to survive.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So you got two out of three. You had breakfast, you had lunch, but yeah, you're right. As it relates to the traffic coming in that area, it's nothing over there that will say,
Right.
let's go over there. Not to
No.
be able probably to
Right.
sustain it.
Right. No, it wasn't. And then at that time, there was a Pizza Hut on there. Matter of fact, was quite a few businesses on that in the town that ended up closing, and that just made it worse. So really, at that time, was about the only thing that you could possibly draw from would have been Catawba and the VA.
Yeah,
Uh,
the top.
and then, like I say, the majority of those people came maybe for lunch, but at dinner, they wouldn't. They was going home. They wasn't going that direction. So
Yeah, yeah, because
it was just hard to maintain. With all the expenditures you got as far as inventory, labor, and all those kind of things, it was just hard to survive if you don't have a top line. And hard as getting 3.5% right off the top, it
yeah.
just make it hard to survive.
Hmm. Did you ever thought when you were in those business classes at Livingstone that you would own your own restaurant?
Never even thought about it. Never even crossed my mind. Uh, and even working in the system, it never even crossed my mind until the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah,
Then I started thinking about it seriously then at that point. But basically, during my career, I was just focusing on making sure I had good operations, and my managers and their crew was doing what they supposed to be doing. So when the opportunity presents itself for me, I said, well, why not go for it?
yeah. I mean, you got to
So
see what's out there. So when
right.
you look for employees back then, characteristics and skills, what were some of the? Give me some of the top three things that you look for when someone came in looking for a position.
Well, the biggest thing I looked at was the appearance.
Good.
If you have to have uh, the application needs to be legible and neat. That's where you start from. And if you got you go through the applications, you can't hardly read them, you can't figure out what they are, and then you need to say you put them to the side. But if you got individuals that got a good neat application, then those individuals you want to call to interview. And then the second thing, you want to make sure that when they come in, are they neat, are they clean, how they carry themselves, you know. And then from that point, it just depends on the interview process and how well that goes, what kind of answers you get into the questions you have, and what kind of relationship do you have with your family or whatever. See, all those things come into play, because even coming into a business such as that, you're
Hmm.
going to be interacting with other kids. So you want to kind of have some kind of idea how they would interact with the people that you have there already.
Right. So they had to be team
That's
players.
kind of what I.
So they had to be team players too. And when you hire them.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. No, those are all good
Hmm.
characteristics. Tell me about some of your leaders. What made them stand out? People who were just excelling over everybody else.
Well, those are people that you don't have to babysit to a
Mm,
certain extent, and they keeping themselves busy, and they always gonna separate themselves, because when you look around, they doing something positive. They not standing around trying to have a conversation or whatever. They trying to do something that's gonna help the business. Which keep it clean or whatever. And so those kind of people, just stands out from the rest. because if you're not interested in moving up, then you're not going to be doing anything extra, and you're not be going taking that second step, to try to get ahead. And
Yeah.
so those how you kind of separate the good apples from the bad apples in terms of promotion.
Yeah. So yeah, that's real good, Mr. Jeffries. So right now in this age, 2021, are leadership skills needed now more than ever, or can you kind of skate through without being a leader and just following everybody?
Well, I guess based right now, a lot of people don't look at the leadership skills. They look at a position that needs to be filled.
Yeah.
And if you got an individual there that's showing up for work and doing what he's supposed to do, not necessarily outperforming and outselling anybody, then you're gonna look at that individual and say, okay, well, let's talk this because I know situations where there's people that's been put in situations that don't have any management experience or anything else.
Hmm.
And when you just start pulling people out the basket just to say, okay, here you go, just to fill a spot, then a lot of times that those things don't work out,
Yeah.
and those people end up failing.
Hmm. Because they got put in the position that they shouldn't have probably been in from the start. So,
Exactly, exactly.
and you see a lot. Sports has taught me a lot, Mr. Jeffries, and it taught me that if you got a good coach and good leaders, they'll put you in a position to be successful. They won't put you in a position
Right,
to fail, because if you fail, then the whole team failed,
right.
and all
That's
of
right.
that. So, but a lot of times now you have people who get put in positions might be because of who they know. They don't have the experience, and like you said, they're gonna run the
Exactly.
organization down if you have enough of them in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, one more question for this
That's
quarter,
right.
and I want to ask you this, and we'll go to our fourth quarter. But as you look at football and life, we all have what is called in basketball. You have court vision. In football, you have field vision, and we all know why that's important in these sports. Why is having a life vision important?
Well, I'm sorry. Could you
So,
repeat that?
yeah, so in basketball, if you got a good point guard, he has court vision. He can see the court. In football, you might have a quarterback or a running back or a receiver who can pretty much see the whole field. They call it field vision. In life, you should have
Right.
life vision. So why is having a life vision important also so you can succeed in life?
Yeah, it's very important because you need to, first of all, you need to have some kind of idea of, what your plans are, where you want to be.
Hmm.
And, just depending on what field you're in, you need to be able to look at the environment and you need to target in what field you want to work in. And that's what you need to target on. So you need to have a vision of what's going on in that department. And
Hmm.
that's the department that you want to try to excel in. So
Yeah.
you have to have some kind of vision as to what it looks like.
No, you're right. You do, because if you don't have a vision in life or on the field, number one, you don't know where you're going, and if you don't know where you're going, how you gonna know
Right,
when you get there? And so you just running blind
right,
pretty much. And in sports, we have goal. You got the goal line, score. And in basketball, you got the hoop, put it in the basket. That's going to help us win the game. And if you
right,
don't do these same things in
right,
life, you just Bobby Womack had a song called Harry Hippie. You just existing through life pretty much.
right.
That's all you're doing and just waiting on days to come and you're right. That's you have to have a vision in life. That way you can break your plans down and how you like you say, how you gonna know if you succeeded if you don't have a life vision. So great,
Right.
great third quarter, Mr. Jeffries. So we get ready to go to our fourth quarter. And in our fourth quarter, we're going to talk about what you're doing now. I know one thing you're doing. I think you've been doing this. Uh, I forgot the year. 1978, with the Elks. So tell me
Still with
about,
the Elks.
yeah, tell me about your job, your position with the Elks.
Uh, Currently, my position with the Elks, I'm the state president of North Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for all the Elks in the state of North Carolina.
Yeah.
Uh, Joined the organization, as a younger man, I think 78 or something like that, and
Mhm.
I'm in Michigan, and so I had a lot of positions, finance secretaries, different uh, directors, different auxiliaries, and all kind of things. So, I just decided that the next thing, my next step would be to move on to state president.
Yes,
So
sir.
the opportunity was there. I got voted to be the state president. So I've been a state president probably for about 4 years now here in North Carolina.
Oh,
Prior
that's
to that, I was financial secretary for about 12 years.
yeah. So you
And
kind
I'm
of work
also
your
on
way
a
up,
Grand Lodge. Yes.
and you see it.
Also, I'm on a Grand Lodge. We got a Grand Lodge out. So, I got offices on the Grand Lodge step as well.
Hmm. Oh, that's
There's a
great.
protocol office on the Grand Lodge. Yeah. So, yeah,
So,
that's been pretty much what I do with my time.
hmm, how much? Because that's a gift of love. So we wouldn't call it work. That's a gift of love that you're doing. How how
Right.
how how
Correct.
much is that like the time that you give to the elks? If you could quantify it.
Well, I actually give a lot of time. It's very time consuming. If you're not careful, it can suck up all your time. But you have to just depending on where you are and where you want to go.
Yeah.
Sometimes if within an organization, if you committed to that organization, then you're gonna do what it takes to make that organization successful, and you want to be a part of it. So,
That's right.
I've been traveling with the Elks for a long period of time, and so that's what I do. My wife understands, and she don't have a big problem with it. To my knowledge, but so I've been traveling with the Elks for a long period of time. Obviously being married for the amount of time that I've been married, so hadn't really created any problems on the home front. So
Yeah. No, that's
it's
great.
worked out well.
And how long have you been
Hmm.
married, Mr. Jeffries?
Pushing 54 years.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations. 54 years.
Yeah, I was married when I was in college. I
Really?
got married my freshman year of college.
Oh.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
y'all, so were you in the dorm or in college then, or you had this, or you had the apartment?
Oh, no, no, no. My wife is from local too. She's here from Salisbury.
Oh, she's from
No, I
Salisbury.
stayed. I stayed off campus.
Oh, you
Yeah, I
said
stayed
okay.
off campus. I didn't. I used to stay some nights on campus with some of my partners, but majority of the time I stayed at home.
Yeah. Hmm. That's real good. So 54 years. So y'all
Hmm.
met back at when you were
Yeah.
in at home.
Well, we were childhood sweethearts.
Oh, so it's been 54 years, but you
Junior
probably
high school.
junior high school.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That is great.
Long time. Long time.
Yeah.
Been married so long we look like each other. No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding about that. But
that's great. 54
hmm
years. And that's just being married.
we've
That's
got one daughter. We got one daughter. She still lives in Michigan,
okay. She's in
and
Michigan.
yeah, she played basketball down at IU. She was all Big Ten down there for
Oh,
a
that's
couple of
great.
years. And yeah, yeah, she just they wanted to come overseas and play, but she kind of decided against that. She just was like me, came out a little earlier. The women's league wasn't going on at the time, so
Hmm.
I'm sure had it been, she'd have played in it because she's
Yeah.
pretty good. She's in the thousand point range down there. They sent her a ball. I mean, they always send us some paraphernalia from
Yeah.
school. So
No, that's real
they
good.
sent her a nice basketball with IU on it, and they had on there where she was a member of the Thousand Point Club. So she
So
was she was pretty good.
how was that seeing your daughter succeed in sports also?
Oh, that was wonderful. My wife and I used to travel to Bloomington, Indiana, shoot almost every weekend when they had a home game. Matter of
Hmm.
fact, we used to be all over, because the Big Ten is pretty central. You got Michigan State right there. You got Ohio State, Purdue, So all of them within a 5 or 6 hour range that you can
Yeah.
get to, with the exception of you start going up to Wisconsin and Illinois and all like that. We didn't do too much of that because that was 8 9 hours, a little bit too far to drive. But
Yeah.
all the schools that she played at, like Michigan, Michigan State. Well, Michigan was right at home anyway, but Michigan State, Ohio State, Purdue. We used to hit all those. Whether they was playing at home or going. We get in the car and we take off and go see a play.
Oh yeah, no, that's great. That is all right, Mr. Jeffries.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
did she hit 45 in the game like you did?
No, I don't think she ever scored that many. I don't. She used to stay in the 20. She used to stay in the 20 marks, but she didn't make it to no 40 range. No, she was
Oh,
she used to stay in the 20s though.
yeah. Okay. I mean,
Yeah, she started. Yeah, she started. Well, she blew her knee out the first year,
hmm
and she was on the verge of starting. But when she came back her sophomore year and got her knee, did the rehab, so she started from her sophomore year right on up till she finished. Yeah,
yeah. Do you, do
yeah.
you,
So
do you still
matter of
watch?
fact, let me see.
Oh, yeah.
Matter of fact, let me see if you can see this, Reggie.
Okay.
You might be able. Matter of fact, she had. That's her
Oh,
on it. Can you see that?
yeah, I can see it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah,
look up
yeah.
after
That's
this.
that, that's her 31.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She had that put on my pad here on the where I keep my mouse at.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. They had her picture on. Her picture used to be on the schedules and everything else.
oh, that's real good. No, that's something to be proud of.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll look up after
Oh
this meeting.
yeah, oh,
Yeah. So
yeah,
another
yeah.
question
Check
I
her
got.
out. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll check out. Another question I got for you, Mr. Jeffrey. What I didn't ask you this, and I always ask football players this. What was your number?
80.
Okay, you was number 80. Okay.
80 was my number. Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
it's 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 retired. Matter of fact, they retired it a couple of years ago.
yeah, you got
Let me
it?
see. Yeah, let me. I got some stuff sitting on top of it.
Yeah, let me check it out.
I got to move some things to get it.
Oh, you all right? Take your time. Oh, oh yeah. Oh, that's nice, Mr. Oh, that's real nice. Oh, they did good with that. And they got it in a shadow box
Uh
too.
huh.
Yeah. Let me take a picture of that.
Yep. Yep.
Hold on one second.
Yep.
Leave it up. Leave it up real quick. Let me take a picture. Let me get a picture of that. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's nice. I got it. Yeah, cause
Okay. Yeah, they retired this state. One homecoming game, they retired it.
I think I
And
remember that year that they retired the jersey.
matter, matter of fact, I wasn't even. I was down at the tailgate, and I didn't
Huh.
come up. Somebody came down and said, "Man, they calling you. They just retired your jersey." And I was down there tailgate down there cooking because we
Oh yeah.
always do a big tailgate at homecoming.
Oh,
So I went over on campus and got it after the next day. I mean that
oh,
Monday.
oh yeah. You got it. Yeah. Well, my mama said don't invite yourself to anything, but I think I want to invite myself to y'all tailgate next year. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You do that well. Like I say, hopefully, we'll get to meet, sometime in the very near future.
Yes, sir.
Things calm down a little bit. When you're available.
Yeah,
You play golf?
I see. I hit the ball a little bit. Does that count? But see, I don't have any trophies like you got, Mr. Jefferson. I'm looking at them 3 trophies back there, and you
Oh
don't
yeah,
get
I
trophies.
got several trophies up on top of that dresser.
Yeah,
It's bunch on top of that dresser. Yeah,
So
football, flag football trophies, and like I say, that's my wall of fame over there. I don't know if I take that thing off, you might be able to see it.
yeah, let me check the
Let
Wall
me
of
see,
Fame out.
because I got a mic on here.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
the camera.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I can see it. All right, to the right. All right, go up a little bit. Okay. Yeah. I see Hardee's. I see I see you catching the ball. Hold on, go back. Go, yeah, up. I see the golf trophies. Okay. I see the one you catching it.
Let me see. Where's that? I'm trying to see that article. Let me get this. I'm trying to see. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, there's a. That's
Which,
that. That's that ad. See the ad right there?
let me
That was
see.
the article that they had.
Oh, the one that said you came out too early. Is that
Yeah.
the one you
Let's
talking
see.
about? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it. I see it. Oh, that's great, Mrs. Jeffries.
Yeah. Uh huh. My wife did that up. Set that up for me.
Oh, she did a great job. That's
She
nice.
did. Yeah. She kept a scrapbook. Kept my scrapbook all the way through high school and college.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
Oh, you fine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had to get a camera because that computer
Oh, I didn't have a
didn't
camera.
have a camera in it.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna do
Hmm.
more of these because I know you'll get some of your teammates and we'll talk about when y'all played. Because I like to compare eras
Hmm.
too, even though you can't compare an era because different times. So we got to learn how to appreciate the eras other than comparing who was better and who was this or who was that. It's a different era.
Right.
So
Uh-huh.
and plus y'all pass the ball a lot. You know, with us, Coach Abrams wouldn't even pass on 85. So that's what I used to tell him. I said, Coach, I said, you wouldn't even pass the ball if we was on, you wouldn't even pass if we was on Interstate 85. You gonna run.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that they let Rudy get out of there.
I
He
know.
I knew him well. He matter of fact, he had married one of my classmates.
Oh, did he?
I don't know if he ever met his wife, but
I
his
did.
wife was my classmate.
Oh,
Hmm.
so Coach Abrams,
Yeah.
I think, was he a class of 69? Or was he a little bit before then?
Uh, you mean as far as
When he
what
graduated?
as far as him?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
I don't
he
I
might have
don't
been before
know.
you.
Yeah, he was ahead of me. I don't really know what. I don't even know if he went. I don't know where. I don't remember what Rudy went to school with. Yeah, he played at Livingstone,
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
I
Livingstone. Yeah.
believe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he played there. Yeah, I don't remember what year he came out, but he was. I know him well. I know him well. Like I say, he married one of my classmates.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he was ahead of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like Tyler, and those guys, they was singing my freshman year.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, let me see. No. So he had to be ahead of them. He had to be ahead of them because he wasn't there when I got there.
Okay, yeah.
I saw him play though. I saw him play when I was in high school, junior high school.
And Livingstone? Yeah,
Yeah, because I wasn't. As a matter of fact, down during that time, they used to play a lot of games down in Dunbar.
yeah.
So they didn't have a true stadium.
Mm-hmm. So you got to
And
see
then at
them.
one time, after that, they had a little stadium. A field was okay. You know how a field is set up now, like how a field is set up now. It was going that direction,
Yeah,
back toward the back.
yeah.
It was the opposite. It was the opposite direction. It would
Okay.
turn like Now, yeah, now it goes like this. At that time, it went like that. It
Yeah.
was old. I mean, it was
Yeah, I never
yeah.
understood about Salisbury. It could be North Carolina, but because I'm from South Carolina, I never understood why they had those cement bleachers and cement stands. They don't have that in South. I guess we had wooden stands back then, and they gone now. But they made the last in North Carolina. They put them cement bleachers up, and you got to have a bunch of cushions if you sitting in them. That's why I guess I don't ever sit in them. I just stand up on the fence or look around. But because Knott's Middle School has it
Yeah, yeah,
also.
yeah. Well, my high school had them. We had a nice stadium down there. They had uh,
Hmm.
cement bleachers
Yeah.
on one side, and then had wood. Wood was on the other side, like they did on campus. They put wood on the other side.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Get a visitors the wood right.
Yeah. Hmm.
So they had those splinters in. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah,
So Mr.
yeah.
Jeffries, one question I have for you is when you think about your legacy, what would you say your legacy would be? Because you did a lot, and well, not did a lot. You did a lot. You done a lot, and you still doing a lot. What would your legacy be as someone? Because I'm telling you, I wish I would have known a lot of this stuff about you when I was playing, and that's what we got to do a better job in is celebrating our heroes and let the people who know came before us. Because at
Hmm.
Livingstone, I don't think they do a good job of that of letting us know these people came before you, and you can follow this person, and they can kind of help you out because they went through some of the same things. I didn't know you played football.
Hmm.
I knew you. I knew you played football. I didn't know you played receiver. So
Hmm.
so when you think about your legacy,
Yeah.
how would you describe it?
I don't know, really. That'd be pretty hard to, I've been involved in several things. That'd be pretty hard to really pinpoint at this time, I guess. I guess the biggest thing would be, I guess, my participation that I put into this organization that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
As community based and making sure that because else is worldwide, and so
Yes,
I
sir.
put a lot of time in that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure that's kind of where it would be where it would be looked at.
Yeah.
As
It-
far as basketball, football, and all those kind of things, I've had my hands in a lot of things. Running a business, being an owner operator. So it's be pretty hard to pinpoint at this time.
Nah, I'll pinpoint it for you. I'll say winner. You're a winner. You're a game changer. That's who you are.
Yeah,
And it's tough because
yeah.
you like everybody else. You're not going to say I did this and I did this, but I'm going to say it. You a winner. You know how to win and change the game. I mean, you change the game. You put that Hardee's
Yeah.
up there, and it was black owned. That's a game.
Mm,
So just like in sports, I know
yeah,
you changed the
yeah.
game in sports. You had to scoring 45 points and scoring 4 touchdowns. So you had to change the game. So that just
Mm,
translated on to what you're doing right now, being the president.
mm, mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah,
appreciate it. Thank you.
that's a good observation, sir. That's a good observation.
Oh yeah. No, it's just that like I said, I got to give you this while you're here.
Right.
And I mean, you just keep doing the great work.